What kind of person traps a family in their own home with a wall of trash and furniture just to prove a point? That's the question I was wrestling with at 7:30 on a Monday morning, pacing my kitchen, phone pressed to my ear, trying to explain to a 911 dispatcher why my wife, kids, and I were literally stuck inside our house. "Yes, ma'am, I know it sounds insane," I said, glancing at my wife, Emily, who was doing her best to keep our 2 kids from spiraling into full-blown panic. "But someone's barricaded our garage with what looks like a junkyard, and we can't get out." The dispatcher's tone dripped with doubt until I mentioned our security camera had caught the mastermind red-handed, Patricia Hensley, our HOA president, dragging trash bins and old furniture across our driveway at 5:15 a.m. like she was staging a siege. Let me back up. We moved into Willow Grove, a picture-perfect suburban neighborhood, about 18 months ago. The manicured lawns and friendly VY Bess sold us, but the realtor conveniently forgot to mention that the Homeowners Association was run by Patricia, a woman who treated rules like sacred scripture. She'd been HOA president for 7 years, and the power had turned her into a suburban dictator. At first, her tyranny was subtly polite note about our grass being a smidge too long, then a warning about our trash cans lingering curbside for 8 hours instead of the allowed 6. Soon, we were getting violation notices for things like overly festive Christmas lights or our mailbox's shade of charcoal gray, which was apparently a crime against her color chart. Every encounter with her got frostier, her smugness more obvious as she handed out fines like candy. Things took a turn last week. My 12-year-old daughter, Sophie, and I got home late from her soccer tournament, bone-tired. We forgot to drag the trash bins back from the curb. By morning, a due law 50 fine notice was taped to our door, complete with time-stamped photos and Patricia's signature scrawled in what I swear was red ink for maximum drama. I tried appealing at the HOA meeting, explaining we'd been exhausted, but Patricia shut me down with a smirk. "Rules don't flex for personal excuses, Mr. Carter," she said, her voice dripping with fake patience, like she was lecturing a toddler. "Maybe this'll teach you to prioritize compliance." I had no idea how far she'd go to hammer that lesson home. That Monday morning, Emily's gasp woke me. I stumbled to the window and saw it, a fortress of trash bins, a broken dresser, a heavy bookcase, and God knows what else blocking our garage. Patricia had built it with military precision, wedging everything so tightly between the garage door and the driveway's retaining wall that moving it alone was impossible. I replayed the security footage, jaw clenched, watching our middle-aged HOA president, decked out in dark clothes and gardening gloves, construct her masterpiece. I called her first, no answer, naturally. I left a voicemail, barely keeping it CIVYL. Then I called the HOA management company, only to learn Patricia had already filed a report accusing us of repeated violations and disregard for community standards. The nerve. Officer Daniels showed up 20 minutes after my 911 call, his face shifting from amused to grim as he surveyed the blockade. "This isn't just a neighbor spat, Mr. Carter," he said after watching the footage. "This could be criminal unlawful detainment, maybe more." He radioed for backup while my neighbor, Greg, strolled over, coffee in hand. "Carter's under house arrest, huh?" He chuckled, then whistled at the mess. "The Queen's lost it this time." "The Queen?" Officer Daniels raised an eyebrow. Greg snorted. "That's what we call Patricia. She's fined everyone on this block. Got my grandma crying last month over her pink flamingo lawn ornament." As we waited, my phone rang. It was Lisa Nguyen, a lawyer who lived a few houses down and had her own run-ins with Patricia over her culturally inappropriate bamboo garden. I texted her the footage, hoping for advice. "Don't touch anything, James," she said sharply. "This isn't just petty. It's illegal detainment, property interference, maybe harassment. I'm coming over." By the time Lisa arrived, a small crowd of neighbors had gathered, whispering and gawking. Officers were at Patricia's door, and even from a distance, her body language screamed defiance, arms crossed, chin up, while vying dismissively toward our house like we were the problem. But when Officer Daniels showed her the footage on his phone, her face froze. She started talking fast, her voice carrying. It was just a lesson in responsibility. I wasn't trapping them, just making a point. They've broken rules for months. Officer Daniels didn't flinch. Ma'am, you blocked their exit. There are kids in there who couldn't get to school. The crowd went quiet, but the air buzzed with tension. Then, like a dam breaking, neighbors sprang into action. Greg and a couple of guys started hauling the heavy furniture, while others rolled the trash bins away. Emily passed out water bottles, and for the first time since we moved here, I felt a real sense of community. We've all wanted to stand up to her, whispered Sarah, our next-door neighbor, who'd been fined for her noisy wind chimes. This is unreal. Lisa got a call and stepped away, returning with a grin. That was the HOA's regional manager, she said. They've had complaints about Patricia for years but never enough EVY Denke. He's calling an emergency board meeting tomorrow. Officer Daniels walked back to us, now surrounded by neighbors. We'll need statements from your family, Mr. Carter, he said. Ms. Hensley's being detained for questioning. Possible charges include unlawful detainment, criminal mischief, and harassment. I glanced over and saw Patricia being led to a police cruiser. Her earlier swagger was gone. She looked small, her eyes darting nervously at the neighbors watching her empire crumble. For a split second, our eyes locked, and I saw something new in her: fear. Was she actually face charges? I asked. Officer Daniels nodded. She admitted she meant to keep you stuck. The DA will decide, but she's looking at misdemeanor charge up to a year in jail, fines up to $2,500. And a convict tie-in would bar her from any HOA role. Patricia must have heard, because she froze mid-step, turning back with a look of pure horror. But the board is my life, she pleaded. I've spent 7 years protecting this community's standards. The second officer steered her firmly toward the cruiser. Keep MOVYing, ma'am. That afternoon, my phone lit up with texts from neighbors sharing their own Patricia horror stories: fines for wrong flower colors, threats over kids' chalk drawings. By evening, we got word that Patricia had been suspended from the HOA board, with an interim president stepping in. 2 days later, the DA confirmed charges: unlawful detainment and criminal mischief, with $2,000 in fines, community service, and a 5-year ban from any community board. Sarah told us Patricia broke down on her pristine porch when she heard, sobbing for the first time anyone could recall. Looking back, it's wild how one woman's obsession with control unraveled so fast. Patricia thought she was untouchable, but she picked the wrong fight. She didn't just trap us, woke up a whole neighborhood tired of her reign. Now, as we plan the next HOA meeting, there's a spark of hope. Maybe we'll finally have a community where rules serve people, not power trips. But I'll never forget the morning I had to call 911 over trash cancer the day our quiet suburb fought back.